we're ready.
Do it.
Stand for the
Thank
pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, so we have nobody online yet, but if you see anybody come on, let me know. And then Bob's going to be coming late, but then we have Mike, Jessica, Perry, and Rich, and I'm Kristen. And we have Frank and Harley and Dale and Gib. And so there's a couple things that I don't think I put on the agenda within the highway department, so we can cover all that in the highway department report. And then there's one addition to discuss the municipal planning grant under new business, and then I think that was everything. And then the no deletions and the minutes that need approval are from August 8th, last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any addition or deletion? The
Just,
She
municipal-
told us already.
just the municipal planning grant.
Okay. Approve, pre-requested.
None this evening.
Any announcements?
No.
Zoning administrators report?
Yes, so Nancy sent a report and so Nancy has received 24 permits year to date for 2023. Permit scanning continues and all documents for the past 7 years have been scanned and entered into the NEMRIC database. Nancy has signed up for the Town Fair 23 held by the Vermont League of Cities and Towns on September 26th and 27th in Burlington. Of particular interest is the session on short-term rentals. At the completion of this meeting, I will begin drafting the proposed ordinance with input from existing owners and hosts to register short-term rentals in Pawlet.
Any more discuss, any questions or comments about her? Okay. Planning Commission?
Not this meeting.
Not this meeting. Road Foreman's report.
So, we've got the international over the Scots and we're working on that. We're hoping it's just a feed line or something that's collapsing, but it could need a pump rebuild, so we'll see where we go with that. We're working on our grants and aids projects, and that'll probably be the next couple of weeks. We'll be working on that, so. Because that's got to be done by the end of the month, so next month. And then I don't know if you guys want to talk about sand. I've got a price from Leanne for renting the screen and maybe getting some brown sand out of our pit, saving some money there. It's $700 just for the screen a week, or he would run us his 312 and the screen, and for $1,500 a week for both. And he said that's a really good price. That would probably get us everything we need in 2 weeks' time, and maybe even enough to time to put some forward for next year. But the reason for that discounted price was the stone he's been taken out of the quarry. That would be his in-kind service. Basically, he's given us a screen and charging us a pretty low rate on the excavator to feed it. So. And then, other than that, you know, it's getting the stone out of Wallingford, I guess, again this year. But I'm thinking 140 loads, maybe a little less than what we've done. We don't need a lot in West Wallingford, so. And we split that about half each, you know, stone and ground sand.
There was also pricing that came from Pike.
We got ground sand from Pike last year.
Okay.
And so it would save that cost as well, until for, you know, 1,500 if we can do it in a week, or, you know, if it takes 2 weeks. And he said he would do it by the day. We didn't need it for the whole time. He'd split it. That would save us that, you know, 4,000 ton, I think we got last year. I think you called it, Rich. Set that up. But it would save us that if we did it out of our own pit. And I think that ground sand would work fine with mixed with that white rock.
So you feel that there's material in our pit that's usable instead of putting the stone on that we're putting on now?
No, we would continue to put stone, but we need to mix it because our equipment won't take just the stone.
Just a straight stone?
Right.
So you need to soften it with a little bit of sand?
Exactly, yep.
And you feel we could make that material here?
Save quite a lot of money if we do that and have a decent product.
There's veins in there that aren't full of silt, like a lot of the stuff I've been seeing on the road.
Yep. And I think mixed with that white stone, I think it'll be a good sand product. I think for the cost savings, I think it's definitely worth a try for this year and see, you know, where we're at.
And most of that material would be needed for Pawlet here, because the pile of,
Over here. West Pawlet's not too bad a shape. I think 40 loads over there would be enough. Total, counting the white stone.
do we want to go for this? Rich, what do you?
I haven't been up in the pit. He's been asking me to go up and check it out with him. Why don't I plan to meet with you sometime this week, and I'll go take a look at it with him and see what he's got for ideas, and then go from there.
Okay. It looks like we got a good forward directive.
I mean, my understanding is he's gonna know where the material is anyways, but I've owed him a trip up there for about a year.
Okay.
So I'll just go up there with you sometime this week, and we'll check it out. And you guys all should have the Viking quote for the upfit for the town truck.
Do we want to talk about sand at the next meeting? Is that what I'm
Yeah, and
gathering?
we haven't seen the prices. We gotta get all the pricing together too for the next meeting.
Yeah, I just printed out the one from Pike.
875 a ton for the brown sand through Pike.
No, I know SLC's been out of a lot of material. I don't know if they have that stone or not.
The 3/4 drainage.
I know we've been hauling some material out of there, and they've been out of a lot of products, but I don't know about that one.
Yeah, no, I haven't been in there, so.
We could find that out and get a price for next week, or the next meeting.
So-
They were around $32 a ton last year, I think.
I don't remember what we did have for numbers last year.
In previous years, maybe I'm thinking about something entirely different, but there's been a sealed bid that comes in?
Not
for
for
the sand.
not for winter material.
Oh, for something else?
Mostly just paving is the only
For
time we've
paving
ever.
bids? Okay.
Yeah. We usually looked at a sheet that our highway liaisons put together that had like a list of the different
Right.
products and how much they might cost.
Okay, so we'll get that together for next
Are you
time.
wanting to go basically with the same stone product that we've done in the past, the last couple of years. Just that kind of the feeling, and then some brown sand to mix with it. We'll just, so we've got a price on brown sand here, and I can, you know, I've got a price from Leon, so we know the differences there. I mean, they're showing a 500 units. I'm assuming that it's probably 500 ton, but I think we hauled at least a couple thousand ton out of there last year. Maybe all.
No. It was 5 something, wasn't it?
Probably 500 ton or 500 yards. Do they scale
Five.
you in? Do they have a set of scales at Pike?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were broken.
Yeah, they were
Last year.
doing it off the loader,
Yeah.
so.
And then they just charged us for each load, whatever it was, the same.
So maybe that 500 here they have is what they did for us last year, and they were just, okay.
Well, it was a good product, wasn't it, what we used last year?
Yeah,
People
it's a
had
good
good
stone,
things to
is it?
say about it on
Yeah,
the
it's
roads.
It's a long way to truck it, you know.
The sand you mean?
Yeah, it's a long way to truck it, especially when you go to West Pawlet with it from Wallingford. And if we've got something we can use in our own pit, we need to finish that out, so if we end up moving a town garage up there, we've got everything we can use that.
We do know using that sand just by itself destroyed these back roads.
Well, there was no gravel on it, and that's what Keith had tried to explain to the board, and told me in the past, was we never had any good gravel on the roads either. And we've accomplished that by, you know, going out of town for our gravel. And so the combination between the two created kind of a mix, but we've got good gravel on our roads now, and so we can get away with a slightly, you know, less quality in our sand product because of that. But you can't do both, you know what I mean? We had the worst of both worlds before. We had bad gravel and we had bad sand. And now we have decent sand and we have great gravel. So I don't think we're gonna end up back in the mess we were in before. You know, even if we put straight ground sand on our dirt roads, I don't think we'd be back to that scenario again. Just because we've got better quality gravel on the roads.
Well, I still notice that section from the blacktop up that has just strictly Glucia material. Even in the spring with the amount of sand that we're using, we're still building a slime layer on the top of it. It's not 2 inches thick like it used to be, but we're still getting a slime layer built on it by spring. So it's definitely detrimental to our road surface. And it also turns into dust in the summer, much more readily than the materials that we've been buying from Glucia or from SLC.
You know, we're gonna be a couple weeks just hauling, you know, the 50 loads out of Wallingford, so, and, you know, we've got a lot of projects going, so.
And last year, we used winter sand out of SLC in West Pawlet. We didn't take any brown sand over there to speak of, because we mixed in what was already over there.
Right, most of that.
If we had to use any brown, but we used stone product, winter sand over there on the west
We
side.
trucked a few loads out of there back to Pawlet of that. That was still sand, so that's still sand out of our pit.
Most of that was mainly used on the blacktop for a mix. But
Well, you're gonna go up there and evaluate it, Rich, and
Yeah, I'll go up with them and we'll take a
you
look
guys
at it.
can look at the vein over and see if there's just better veins than what we were using before.
I mean, the challenge that we face, I mean, ideally, it'd be straight stone on the back roads, because that would be best for them.
Right.
But these guys were fighting with, you know, trying to get that material through the sander, and that's no good. So, I mean, that's the main reason why we had to put some with it. I don't know if it would be worth, you know, trying to mix in the pile as opposed to mix it in the truck.
No, mixing out the truck works really well. And then you can blend it accordingly to the type of storm you have. So the ice storms, we try to go quite heavy with the stone. You know, so, because it just sticks up out of the ice, you know, it doesn't ice back over as
Oh, yeah, it works excellent.
So, no, keeping it separate in the pile and mixing it on the truck is really doesn't really work.
What else we got on the agenda? Grant? The
Oh.
structures grant?
We gotta make a decision on
There's a
this.
handful of things, yeah. So the truck pricing, do you want to talk about first?
Okay.
I talked to Julie about the truck pricing, and she gave me some printouts here, which I can pass around. And related to discussing the truck pricing is also talking about the money for the structures grant if we do it. So I'll sort of lay out for you what Julie gave to me. So we have 3 quotes for the, for financing the truck, and that's for the, we would be financing $156,000. Because that is what's above and beyond what we already have saved up for the truck. And what she was able to pull together. So financing that in 5 years, which is what we have to do because of the rules about financing. We got a quote from Berkshire, we got a quote from Bank of Bennington, and then we got a quote from financing through the truck company. So financing through Daimler, the truck company, would be 7.37%. Bank of Bennington would give us 6.75%, and Berkshire would give us 6%. So Berkshire Bank, which she just heard back from today, is the one that would give us the best percentage rate. Now, with any of those, we could take out the loan right away. The other thing to bear in mind, though, is that there is this program through the state, which is, let me get the name, the Municipal Equipment Loan Fund, which caps at 2%. It will never be higher than 2%. So that is a much better deal for us. We could only borrow up to $110,000 through that, so the additional 46 we would have to make up out of the budget, which we could possibly move some things around, and I'll get into that in just a second. That state loan, she wrote to the person in charge of it, and the next tranche will be in December. The applications for that are due by October 15. So if we wanted to apply for that, we would not know back till December. Something Julie suggested, which I think is a great idea, if we do need to get the truck right now and can't wait until like December to decide if we get the truck, we might be able to take out with Berkshire or Bank of Bennington the loan from them at the higher percentage, and then if we can get the loan through the state, we could then use that money to pay off the Berkshire or Bank of Bennington loan. Now, the one piece of information that we still don't have from Julie, which she's been trying to get, is if there is a penalty for early pay for either of these loans. And if there was, we might still want to do it to get that much better of a rate. I mean, that's what, 4% less on the interest, which would save us a good lot.
Over 5 years.
Yeah, over 5 years, yeah. So the amount we'd be paying monthly, here, I'll pass these around if anyone wants to look at them. This is Julie's sheet for each of the ones. Oh, let me just write here. This is Berkshire, this is Bennington, and this is Daimler. So this shows each month what we'd be paying and how it would go out for the interest and the principal.
Thank you.
So that's sort of our options as far as financing that Julie's been able to find for us. To just give an overview about if we do the structures grant for the bridge and we need to find $100,000, Julie suggested that if we're not going to be doing any paving, Dale, are we planning to do any paving, do you know, in this fiscal year?
We didn't get a grant, so.
Because we have $100K in the budget for paving. And if we decided not to do that, we could use that money toward the bridge. Alternatively, we have not budgeted the money for the truck in this fiscal year, right? So we'd be paying this loan would be about $3,000 a month, and that is also unbudgeted. We could feasibly move from the paving fund over to that as well. Julie also thinks we could probably, let's see, it would be 3,000 times, what month would we start paying it? We'd be taking possession of the truck pretty soon, right? Was the idea?
You'd probably have November and December.
Yeah.
Or maybe just December.
So like 6 or 7 months worth times 3,000, so something like 18 to 21,000 unbudgeted. We can probably find that to move around somewhere else in the budget that we haven't used. So that's not as big a deal as 100,000 unbudgeted. But Julie did want to point out that if we do both the structures grant and the truck, that is going to amount to at least about like 120, 130,000 that we didn't put in the budget for this past year.
Can I add one thing? So I heard from Patrick, and he just wanted to follow up with us because it's been a little while since we were sent the agreement for the structures grant. And he wanted to remind us that the deadline for reimbursement is not until December 31st of 2025.
Oh, yes, so the other
So-
thing that, yeah,
That should hopefully allow us for enough time to come up with a plan. He's also said
Yeah.
there's no critical rush to get the agreement signed,
Yeah.
but wanted to make sure that they weren't holding us up on their end, so.
and that reminds me, if I may just jump in one more second, what Kristen said reminds me that Julie also mentioned for the structures grant, if we budget it for the next fiscal year, and then we have them do the work after July of next year for the bridge work, then we could put that in the budget we're gonna make this November.
Which is kind of what it realistically looks more like, for it to have the bridge project be taking place. That's right. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem realistically like we're going to be getting it in during this current construction season.
Just, it would have to, I'm sure that the price would go up some.
Not if I mean, they sent us a quote, and I would,
They're familiar
It's-
with the grant process and the
yeah,
language, so-
it seemed like when they submitted that to us, it
We
was.
could lock it in to not start till
Yeah.
January
I mean,
1st
unless
of
there's like some
2024.
crazy, changes in rates of things,
The
but.
dates had an end date on there for that quote, I
think
can't
so.
remember, but,
Not that I saw,
Um,
but
but the other I'm wondering is it legal for us to use the blacktop money for something else? Is that earmarked for?
No, the way that our fund accounting works is we put a certain amount in each fund, assuming that that's what we're gonna use it for. But every year, if it turns out that we don't use something in that fund, as long as it's used for, like, it's in highway, right? It can and has in past years just been moved
Reallocated.
moved around a little bit. As long as the whole budgets that the voters voted on,
Certain items that,
yeah.
fall under
Stasis.
that, but, most of the budget.
So we
does.
can't hide, we can't,
Some line items, I was thinking that you kind of had to keep it with that.
the highway fund money couldn't go into the general fund.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, as long as what the voters voted on stays the same. They voted on this much for highway, this much for general, this much for wastewater. So that bit has to stay the same.
Sure, that makes sense.
Where's that gonna put us for next year if we decide to blacktop it? And if we get a grant, if we use that money, instead of doing, much larger stretch of road with that money plus, what we would get for grant plus the money that we will have after July. I'm trying to say, right now we were gonna do just a little over a mile of road. Could we feasibly do over 2 miles of road if we didn't use that money? I'm not saying it doesn't make sense to do that, I'm just saying, let's not forget, we've got next year and we need to block out, there's stretches of road that are getting kind of bad.
hopefully we'll get a grant.
And hopefully we'll get a grant, but with the extra money that we would have budgeted toward that, we could cover, what we should have done this year and next year. Just putting it out there as something.
I
to
mean,
think
my
about.
thought would be that if we decide to budget for the structures grant and we put it in our fiscal year 24-25 budget, that we would put that in separate. We just say, we need an extra $100,000 in the highway budget for this, and then the tax rate will go up a little bit based on that, because we decided to fix a bridge. That's kind of how budgeting works.
We split it for, formula.
Frank?
you're gonna be cycling a truck out and selling it, how much would you anticipate coming in from the sale of that truck you're cycling
I
out?
don't think that international's worth a lot, do you?
Did anybody buy it?
Oh, yeah. It's saleable.
It's sellable.
Right, but it's not like you're gonna get 50 grand for it.
No, but you get something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, last time we sold a truck, we got a little bit for it.
5 times what we expected.
10 grand maybe. Okay. Harley?
There was another large budget item, the truck comes in, but then it has to be set up to do the job it's expected to do. And that was a pretty big bill also.
Right, that's the 99,000 added on to the truck, and the numbers we're looking at financing has to do with the money that we have saved in our equipment fund, put toward the price of the truck, and that's what's left, that we'd have to budget 150 some thousand.
156,
So
yeah.
this number includes upfitting the truck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's the truck and outfitting, yes, that's
Well, we
correct.
we have enough money in our budget to pay for the upfitting, so we really just have to finance the truck.
Yeah.
So there's 2 items that are sort of on the table right now that eventually are going to need a motion if you wish to tonight. So it's the truck and how you'd like to handle the truck, and then the structures grant are the 2 action items
Okay.
for right now.
That's what's hot. That's
Those
what's
are
bubbled up to
the
the
hot
top, right?
items, and then we'll move on
Alright,
to the
so
next
Let's
items
talk
that are in
about,
the warmer.
let's finish up the truck.
Okay.
Viking seems like the best deal all the way around. Is this body gonna spread that material any better than the other bodies, or?
It's, I don't know if it's gonna be any better, but it's,
Better than the 13.
Okay. So, that's good. That's a
of
good thing.
the 2 styles that we have, it works the best with that product. And we've been through this with a fine tooth comb, and this is with the new dump body, the one that we have here as opposed to the old one, or the used one. So yeah, I mean, it's the best option that we've come up with.
So, somebody wanna make a motion that we proceed with the purchase of this upfit?
I'll make that motion. I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Any more discussion on having Viking upfit this new chassis that we're in the process of purchasing?
What's the
All in-
cost?
Excuse me?
The cost.
Of which part?
It's
The total.
the total of the upfit.
What's the grand total of everything?
255,946.
255,946?
That's the truck and the
That's
upfit.
the whole thing.
Yes, that's
In
what
last
I,
meeting, you had put the truck in.
that's right. So I want the whole.
Do you
kit
want
and
just the
caboodle.
upfit as well and then the whole number?
99.
Would you like for me to have that? I
Yes,
mean,
you should, it's a separate,
so the
totally
Newtown
separate.
truck and upfit, so how much is the upfit?
So the cap,
99?
yes, it's 99,500.
Okay, thank you. All right, so you made that motion, Perry.
All in favor?
Who seconded
Aye.
it?
Rich?
Purchase.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay.
So regarding the financing, I assume we're gonna vote on that separately. I would suggest, given the information we have, my suggestion would be that we finance through Berkshire because they're giving us the best rate, and that we then apply for the, let me get you the municipal equipment loan fund, which the deadline is October 15 to apply for that. And if we are able to get that at the 2% rate, we use that money to pay off the more expensive loan.
And when does that, would that be available?
They would make the decision in December on that loan. However, Julie talked to the person who funds that loan, Matt Jenkins, and he said, it's fine if you make the purchase earlier with a conventional loan. The municipal equipment loan funding could be applied toward the loan balance.
They don't say when the money would be available.
The funds are distributed, okay, the committee typically meets at the end of December to review and approve the applications, so you would not have positive confirmation until that time. The funds are dispersed soon after that, once the promissory notes are executed. So soon after the end of December.
So we could maybe possibly make one payment on
Yeah,
the truck.
yeah,
Maybe two.
one or two, before that other, if we get,
That doesn't sound guaranteed.
it is not guaranteed that we get the 2% loan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we know we want to buy the truck. We decided to buy the truck. So I think the most fiscally responsible thing to do would be to go with the lowest
Yeah.
rate we have right now, and then see if we can get a much lower rate through the state, and if we can't, we keep the Berkshire one.
Yeah,
And just make sure there's no penalties.
for early
Early
payout.
Yeah, that there's no penalties for early
I
pay.
think that's illegal in the state of Vermont to
Have
have a
penalties?
penalty for paying off principals.
Well,
I've learned that semi
that,
recently.
that would be great if that was the case.
I don't know 100%, but I feel kind of. I
But
feel fairly
Julie
confident.
suggested that even if there was some kind of penalty, it would probably be worth it to pay that if we
Yeah.
do get the lower rate loan.
Yes.
Do we need to put the money up for the chassis before it goes to Viking? We don't, it's not till it's complete.
And we can pay for the chassis and the upfit right through ATG.
Okay,
So there won't have to be two separate checks. ATG will take care of Viking,
okay,
so that we can just do business with ATG.
okay. Well, that's plus, cause that way we don't have to pay for a truck that's sitting in a shop for a month or two to get an outfit. Okay. So, you just made a motion.
Yes, I
Jessica
made a
did.
motion that we finance it through Berkshire Bank and then also apply for the acronym, the Municipal Equipment Loan Fund.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
The total municipal grant was for less than the 156, wasn't it?
Right,
Yeah.
it was.
So there's gonna be the situation where you get that money in, you pay down the loan, but the payments are still going to be due for that loan as it was originally
Yeah.
set up.
Yeah, the difference, I believe, would be 46,000.
Yeah.
So we might have some, Julie suggested there would be like two possible options. One is we find some money elsewhere in the budget to pay that difference, which might be possible depending on how the highway budget is looking come January. Or we could just continue to pay the rest of, we would pay down 110,000 of the Berkshire loan, and then we would just continue to pay the rest, which would be a much reduced, much reduced amount of time, it wouldn't be 5 years.
Right.
Either way, we save money.
But those two payments due every month isn't gonna be a problem with cash flow.
It should not be a problem with cash flow.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
1.5 times.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, so we're on that.
Kristen, should you or should I, would you like me to let Julie know about it?
Please.
I will. I'll make a note for myself,
Thank you.
since we've been discussing it.
Great.
The structure.
Structures grant.
So it sounds like we've kind of hashed this all out and feel that we need to happen in July, starting July of 2024. The grant works. It's a 2-month window to do the job, if we can,
I think a month.
well,
I think 1 month is what
1
they.
month.
Yeah, in
What
the grant, I think
Right,
it's
2
in-
weeks, 2 weeks of road top and then 2 weeks to paint it.
Yes.
And the road would be open to emergencies, open for bus traffic, just closed to general public during working hours.
That's right.
7:30 to 3:30 or something.
I mean, that's a reasonably doable situation.
Are we gonna get more bids other than the one that we have?
So
Once-
if I may, when I spoke to Patrick, he said that if we're going to get other bids, we would need to submit it to them for approval because the grant agreement that has been executed was for that one bid. And so my understanding was that Daniels is kind of the only game in town.
There's one other outfit in New Hampshire.
All right, so if we want to do that, then we could get another bid and just make sure that it's submitted. I mean, they have offered us the money.
Right.
So the state has offered us the money. So if we accept it, we accept it. But if we're going to work with somebody else besides Daniels, because that's what they approved us on, then we'll need to submit that to Patrick so that they can review it and make sure that the scope is.
What if we use Daniels only, change some of the criteria we want them to do? You know, try to alter that in any way.
That is fine. So my understanding, because I did ask Patrick about that, since the amount that we were quoted on is greater than what we are given through grant funding, so we need to spend at least what we've been given, is basically the gist of it. So if there's opportunities for us to be able to cut on some of the expenditures, I think that that would be fine. But if there's any like major or significant adjustments to the scope of the project or the total cost, we'll need to let them know.
And
So.
some of that in the language talks about what they're gonna find when they get in there too, and so it can
That's right.
change anyway.
Right. Yes.
So there's a chance for a 2-lane temporary bridge to be built?
No.
That was an option, but it was not in the fund.
It's gonna fix up Clerk Road in case you're going toward Granville.
Duke's a hazard car jump.
One thing, the other thing about that grant is there's what, 10% match, so that would be 20,000 out of that 200, right? That the state gives us 200 total, right? And then we had to come up with another 100.
Yeah, I thought they said that it was 120 that we were gonna have to pay, right? Is that what we discussed there?
So it's 10% match, and it's a $200,000 award. So, yeah.
Because we had talked about dividing it up 60,000 over two
Yeah,
fiscal
I
But that's the
years.
thing, it's over 2 fiscal years.
Yeah.
So,
I was thinking a little bit backwards. It's, if the job was less than 200,000, we would have to pay 10%. But since the job is over 200,000, do they give us the full 200,000? Because
well,
the
they
job
don't
is
give
300.
us anything. We have to pay for it out of our own
Right,
pocket.
the
They
total
reimburse us
job is
reimbursement.
300,000.
So there's a 10% I mean, up to, we can request reimbursement of up to 200,000
And they give us up to 200,000?
back.
Right.
That's right. So there's the max. So if we spend
220 is the only
220,
way.
right, we'll get 200
We would get 200
back, and then that's our.
Since we're spending 300,
There's
they'll give
also
us
the
the full
option for
200.
in-kind. I don't know, I mean, we've spoken about it, and I've spoken about it with Patrick. I don't know what Pawlet's opportunity for in-kind service for a project like this would be. I volunteered to scrape the bridge, but we've decided that's not an option because, the lead. But, so I don't know. So I'm not sure what our opportunity would be, but as we figure that out, maybe there's options for us. I don't think you want to stand out there and direct traffic, or, I'm not sure. So,
Well, there's not gonna be much of that with it closed while they're working, so,
right.
other than emergency vehicles or whatever, so.
The big selling point that Patrick keeps,
And
like,
in order for us to go with somebody else, that contractor would have to be pre-approved by the state, right?
I'm not sure that they have to be pre-approved by the state, but I would imagine they would have to meet the state's requirements for
Right,
insurance.
but I
and
mean,
things.
before we could hire another contractor
Oh,
that the state was
yes.
gonna give us money for, they'd have to say yes or no, he's a gypsy and we don't want him.
That was my understanding, because you were part of that phone call. I think
I'm-
that was my understanding of it.
I would suspect that they have that right to say, no, we don't have that gypsy working for us.
Yeah, you always had to sign a big contract and have all kinds They wanna know everything about you.
Well, yeah, you need to have certain amount of street cred maybe.
And,
to-
and
maybe a
Daniel's,
little
Daniel's is
insurance.
already
Yeah,
got.
and by street cred, I mean insurance.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
If you guys agree to sign this state contract and do this, it probably would be good for you to decide tonight as well, if you're gonna go with that, with Daniel's bid, or if you wanted to open it up to, another bid, because we probably should get a contract signed with them and with the work beginning next year, so that we're at least on their list. Especially with all the bridge washouts and everything else that's gone on. in the-
Definitely, we would have to have a contract as soon as
Second
we,
page needs to be
you know,
signed.
everything went in order. We'd have to have a contract with Daniels to say this is our time frame that we need this accomplished in.
Sooner the better, and that would be a decision that you should make tonight as well, once you've decided on that. If you're gonna go with that, with Daniels, or you wanted to open it up.
So are we ready to make a,
I just want to make sure you have everything. Patrick said there's no critical, that's the, more information on the agreement. So that's all the details that, I think you all have that too, but,
Is that the same information you sent around to us digitally
yes.
earlier?
Yeah, it's a 20-page.
nothing,
It's a 20-page printout, but those are like the three.
nothing looked out of the ordinary when I was reviewing it.
I mean, if you're gonna consider obtaining another quote, I think it probably makes sense to get that. I don't know. I mean, Patrick said there's no critical rush to it, but we've also been kicking the can down the road for like 6 weeks now on this, so.
Well, we can accept a grant,
Right.
and then, you can make a phone call to that other contractor and see if they're even,
Yeah, that's something you guys need to decide, if you wanna pursue, another
we can, this is about, pursuing the grant money, the
Accepting the money.
200,000. So we can agree on this tonight.
And then once you've done that, decided to do it, then you can decide if you wanted to get more bids or just go with Daniels.
But we need to schedule when they're gonna do it, because the farther we push out, it's gonna get closer to the deadline of when we're gonna have to pay back
Make
and,
that decision tonight, whether you want to pursue more bids or not, so that we can get the bids in and then get a contract with them to do the work next year, if they can even get it in next year.
Yeah, and it does go to the end of 2025. So if they couldn't get it in next year, they could do it early in 2025, and we would not be outside the range of the grant.
So my suggestion would be we accept the $200,000 grant from the state, and then that's done and over with.
yep.
And then tomorrow we call the contractor in New Hampshire and say, hey, we got this bridge project. Are you interested or not? And then we'll go from there. I think that's,
That seems like it makes the most sense.
I'll make a motion to accept this grant
Okay.
for the $200,000.
Do you have a second on that motion?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Any more discussion on this grant? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Look at us getting stuff
Speed
done.
sign permitting.
Okay, so I sent everybody emails, but if we'd like to proceed with putting, so the speed sign, the fourth one that needed new batteries is back up and running. And if we'd like to put them back on state roads, we need to get a permit for that. And I've been speaking with our friend Greg with the state, and he's approved. Basically, he said that it's much easier if we can post it somewhere where there's already a speed sign. So he sent those two locations, which is basically coming from either direction into the center of Pawlet Village on Route 30. Those are pre-approved locations, so I wanted to discuss here in the meeting if you're all on board with that, and I can move forward with applying for that permit.
That seemed like a good option to me, those two pictures you sent, and they were highlighted, just place them signs right there, and
Yeah.
What's the distance? I didn't go out and drive them to,
It's
what's the
basi-
sight line to the signs?
It's
Is it good?
basically like by Sheldon's. and-
Because if it's
By
not
the
far
barn.
enough out, they're not gonna pick them up.
Before we put the other sign,
Yep.
He's signed on
the
it.
side by the sign. The sign is beyond, it's
That's
closer
green
to the
screen.
corner.
But, yeah, back to the state.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, it'll get them and it'll flash on them, but not in any, you know, not in the distance. That's why we chose the spot we did, but they're saying.
Yeah, because they're gonna see it, and then they're gonna speed back up again by the time they get closer to town.
The alternative is if we don't want them,
Will
fixed-
pound a post for us?
so we need to make that happen. So we need to have breakaway posts and we need to obtain more speed limit signs. Because the rules for the state are that it needs to be on a certain kind of breakaway post and
Yeah.
it needs to have a speed limit sign affixed to it as well.
Oh, okay.
So it needs to be official.
Do they need to be involved in mounting them onto the current posts? We can do that
I don't think
ourselves.
so. I think we can do that ourselves. We just need to be permitted to do it and we need to make sure that we're within the parameters of what they say is okay. So anyhow, either way, I mean, we can apply for the permit for what they've suggested and then if it's a total flop and doesn't work, then maybe we can revisit.
So, did you say we were already approved for the?
I have to apply.
Oh,
Those are just pre-approved locations. He said with the application process, there needs to be a design. And so Greg came up with the design.
certainly the simplest thing would be to add it to their current sign.
That's right.
That doesn't even really need a motion, we just apply for those
Yes.
permits and
Um,
put the signs here.
And if later we decide we don't like them being there, we can apply for someplace else.
Yeah,
You know, there's, the state signs are breakaway signs.
apparently.
Yeah. They replaced them all.
All right, and
But
then.
there wasn't one on 133 that they picked out, was there? I didn't notice it. It was just two.
There was the one that, yeah, we had to take one down on 130.
Yeah, I know, that Greg sent a location.
Yes.
Did he?
It was the one that was right across the street from Herrick Road.
Okay.
That's a
That,
good spot also,
also a good spot.
because they speed down that hill.
That's right. He did not send me a design for 133,
No, I didn't think I saw it.
but I
Okay.
haven't asked for one either, so I'm sure he would love to if I asked him. So, but for now, I'll follow up with that and I'll figure out what needs to be done to move forward with applying for the permit on currently existing signs.
Oh, that's District 3, so you're probably gonna have to deal with someone. No, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with somebody out of Castleton
And that's why
or Mendon.
like we even though you commented
Great.
on it.
Super.
Looking forward to it.
Well, let's
Okay.
do those ones on 30.
Yes, so, all right, the next.
So we're good with speed time?
Yeah, and then the next thing is the ongoing discussion with line painting, so I'll just add my contribution to the discussion. I spoke to Patrick, so followed up with a meeting that I believe that you and Gib and Patrick had, and the concept was requesting to highlight the no parking area that is on the Max Market side of Route 30 on the bridge, which is already in existence. And then the concept is to elongate that no parking section to wrap around to go in front of where the pizza oven portion is. And if that is something that we'd like to do, there needs to be a letter that needs to be sent to Chris Taft, who is the district transportation top dog, and he needs to review it and approve it. So I have a letter drafted, which I'm realizing right now I never emailed to you all. I'm so sorry about that. But I can do that and wanted to propose that for discussions before moving forward. So that's all that I have there. Sorry, again?
Where would the no parking be?
In front of so where it already is on Route 30?
Coming off the bridge.
Like along the bridge, but on the Max Market side, and then wrapping around onto School Street in front of where the pizza oven building is. And then beyond that would be a loading zone, which would not be marked off by the state. And that's, I believe, perhaps somebody else can speak more to it, but that's what I had to contribute.
Who's doing the marketing?
That is, I don't know.
And who's guiding where the marking is going?
The state,
This is all a part of the state right away, right?
yes.
Chances are they'll be the one.
Yeah, probably. I don't feel confident in answering that. I don't know.
I just drive right through, but that's not outlined right now, is it? No, so, is this favorable to you, Gib? This is what you had in a sketch,
That was my suggestion first.
right? I still have that sketch that you put out before, so,
I think marking that was favorable to everybody.
yeah, so we should at least start there and see if we can make some positive adjustments with that. Do we need to just get a hold of them and,
I'll send you all the letter and just make sure you like it, and then I can send it to Chris Taft.
Okay.
I have his contact.
is there anything else?
Have you guys received anything from Wade Mosher from the League of Cities and Towns?
Yes.
I didn't hear everything you said. I didn't understand everything I heard. I don't have as good a hearing as I once did. Did you understand?
Did he send you his report? Wade Mosher from the League of Cities and Towns, did he send you guys a report yet?
Nothing that I've seen.
Report from him yet?
Julie,
He's the guy that does the risk analysis.
Yep.
Right. When did he stop?
Almost a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
He's got some suggestions,
Okay.
stuff that, he's recommending be done in order to maintain insurance through the League of Cities and Towns. Just guidelines and things that he's recommending.
Okay. I haven't seen anything. Usually,
I think Julie or Deb sent something, but I thought it went to everybody,
Didn't-
but I'll
I
double
can reach
check.
out to him.
I never saw anything from the risk analysis in the last couple of weeks.
May not have completed it yet.
And then the last thing that I had was that we've been receiving some applicants for the highway department,
Okay.
which is great. So several of them seem really promising and good. So we're gonna continue on that quest.
Before we leave highway, I just wanted to reiterate that the speed sign where, the speed sign that somebody complained about, the one where Herrick Brook meets Towsley Hill, is still like stuck in sideways in a tree. Do we know how that knocked over? I have no idea.
Can it be corrected?
I'm not gonna venture.
Can it be
Well,
corrected
can you-
in the near future?
Can you put it back up and
Okay.
order a new sign? That would be
Old
great.
age.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking maybe flooding.
Maybe not.
Flooding or a
Sign
disgruntled
bad?
person.
Is the sign bad or
The
just,
speed limit sign is just wedged in between the
Broke off the
trees.
ground.
It's just leaning up
It's
against
not.
the tree line.
Yeah, it used to be in the ground because I run past there all the time, and it used to be in the ground, and there was a sign that said Towsley Hill Road like that way, and now the sign that says Towsley Hill Road isn't there. Someone wrote a Towsley Hill Road sign and pinned it on the tree, but now it's like tipped over, and the 30-mile-an-hour sign is just kind of like propped up against a tree. So it's quite interesting. So I can see why it's a little less than professional looking. So.
It'll get corrected. Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Anything else under road? Assessor's report?
Nope.
Town clerk's memo?
So from Deb for approval, outside consumption permit for JD Bean LLC, which is the bar and restaurant and tavern, first class restaurant, bar license for Max Market, outside consumption permit for Max Market. I will be working, Deb, sorry, not I. Deb will be working from 6 a.m. till 12 p.m. on August 23rd, and have a good evening.
Okay, 3 separate motions, correct?
Yes.
Somebody want to make the first motion?
Sure, I move that we approve the outside consumption permit for JD Bean LLC.
I'll
Got a
second
second?
that. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right, let's do it again. I'll move that we approve the first class restaurant bar license for Max Market LLC.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
And the third one, I move that we approve the outside consumption permit for Max Market.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
See, we made it easy for you, Kristen. You
Yeah.
can copy
Thank you.
this.
And I'm like, "Ooh, my fingers are moving very fast right now.
Okay.
Here we are, if we want to look. All right.
They work. They work for Marshall.
And he's just getting this going. What's that?
Yeah, I
Treasurer?
just need to put those on Deb's
Yeah.
desk. So just,
I mean, as long as we don't have a problem with it, the way they
Yep.
go.
Away they
Thank
go.
you.
that's right. Thank you.
Treasurer's memo,
Yes.
please.
Okay. There are 2 warrants this week. Payroll is $10,672.09. Accounts payable is $55,010.35. General fund monies are $22,233.49.
Mouse.
Okay.
We were discussing whether that was just a mouse or a hand up.
Oh.
It's the mouse, okay. We're good.
You had
Oh,
right
it is
over
a little
that.
hand.
It is a little hand.
Okay.
Cute.
Sorry for the,
So sorry. Okay.
Let's make a,
General fund money is $22,233.49. Highway fund $19,214.06. Wastewater $22,964.31, which includes the USDA fall payment. Town hall renovations fund $1,270.58. Tax bills and wastewater bills have been sent out and payments are steadily coming in. Julie has met with Jessica to discuss truck financing options and go through options for the bridge work as well. After the September collection, Julie would like to schedule a time with Jessica to review current financial policies of both the treasurer's office and the select board. There may be some new policies that we might want to adopt. Jessica, I will reach out to you to schedule something for late September or early October if that works for you.
I'll get with her on that.
The auditor came in today to collect information to begin the process. Our current trash removal company is not very accommodating. We would like to make a switch to a more local company with better customer service. I believe that we might even be able to save approximately $40 a month. Today, Julie participated in a demo for Municipay, a company that processes electronic payments. Payments can be made with a credit card or with e-checks. There are no fees to the town unless we choose to use a card reader as opposed to manually entering the card info, which costs $229. This money is deposited to our accounts every 2 business days. Julie is very excited at how user-friendly this seems to be and looks forward to being able to offer a more modern option to the community. Julie is going to be moving forward with this. The turnaround time to begin ready to launch is 7 to 10 business days after the paperwork is submitted. The motions are for payroll warrant 24008 for $10,672.09 and accounts payable warrant 24009 for $55,010.35.
Bob made the motion. We-
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept the warrants.
Do you have a second? Perry did. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And we're gonna remember to sign it this time. Look at that. We're on top of it.
And I think she should look into the different trash company
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
If
If
she
Good
wants to
idea. If
price
she
them.
thinks she found somebody that's a better option, go for it.
better and cheaper.
Well, those guys have been off and on for a few years now. It's like, so.
It's not what you want.
No, not when it's trash.
Not this time of year.
No, not when it's hot.
So that's all.
Trash will be taking itself to the dump too
Yes,
late too long.
That's right.
And there's a lot of it this time of year.
We're flying
Emergency
away.
management,
No.
nothing from Bob. Wastewater, I have not heard anything.
Also nothing from Jennifer.
Oh, nothing from Jennifer either.
Wastewater, nothing.
Anything on facilities?
Not that I have, no. I do have,
Just- Did Harley, did you get a chance to look at those lights? Or no?
Yes, so, Julie and I replaced the lamp down in the vault, the light down in the vault, but I cannot get electricity. I can't get a reading in 120 volts at these lights out here. The 4 lights on the, and I've checked every switch here on the first floor. The only thing after the meeting tonight, because it's dark, like maybe somewhere there's a light sensor. So I was gonna check it and ask everyone to dance out front to, if it's a motion detector. And then I'll check the voltage again tonight, but that's the last thing I can think of. Is there somebody that has a longer memory about how the electricity in here is set up?
Those must be motion lights though, aren't they?
Well, I can't find anything that looks like a
BI
motion
or
sensor.
anything? Yeah.
But if we all dance out there,
That's not gonna make them come on. They're gonna blow.
I got a meter.
But a lot of times there's a switch, if there's even a motion eye out there, there's a switch somewhere that will shut it off.
But I can't see a motion eye or a light sensor.
It's possible that Karen Folger may remember something about that.
Okay.
She was doing all the clerk work for this renovation project. When this town hall was renovated, and I think that's when those lights were put in, weren't they, Bob?
So too.
So she was handling a lot of that right there, so she may have an idea on what
Jessica.
Jessica
either
missed
the
one.
architect called
This
for,
one?
Ralph Nimitz, or,
Oops.
you know, if there's some old documents that may have spelled out what he wanted out there, if he
Alright.
wanted the motion lights activated or not.
Oh, he was the architect was
Ralph did this, right? Yeah,
I think so.
Ralph Dimitz?
yeah, the same guy that,
And Karen Folger, I'll check with. Thank you.
Yeah, and Deb may even have a sketch of that stuff in there. I don't know if it
I've
was,
been checking with her
and
and
she doesn't have,
every switch here on the first floor.
yeah.
it seems as though it would have been spelled out in a project like that, but if all that documents are available,
Thank you.
or if they digressed when they were doing it. School board?
Yes. In July of 2023, the board adopted the recently approved mandatory policies for fire and preparedness drills F3 and access control and visitor management F4. The board approved a tuition request for payment to Taconic and Green School District. In August, the board monitored policy 3.4, monitoring superintendent performance, discussion regarding changes to policy and/or superintendent evaluation process in order to focus the evaluation on compliance with and meeting of policies in general. Our next meeting will be on September 8th at the BRSU office in Sunderland at 9 a.m. The September 11th meeting in Rupert has been canceled. A discussion of student voice being included in community engagement efforts was had. This topic will be part of the ENDS policy and community engagement agenda item for the September 8th meeting. Julie Mack.
Any questions about that? Old or unfinished business, town constable and taximeter.
I've not looked much into that. I just put it on the agenda for you.
And they're not here to tell us more about it.
Do you want me to
And-
pull it up? There was a email about it.
And the last I knew, nothing would happen if they arrested somebody anyways because of that other
Yeah, the OUI permit.
OBI thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So it looks like it needs to be something that's approved because it's above the threshold of amount of money.
Wow.
So I think it looks like, well, it's hard to tell. So the sensor with a 1-year warranty is $407. The 1-year warranty extension is $25. Another sensor warranty is $810. A drug screening adapter is $4,900. And there's a bunch of calibration equipment.
I think we need to know what they exactly want
So, and then,
And whether or not.
and
it'll
whether
be-
they can use it.
Yeah, I mean, even if they, what do they have to do? Hold them there till the cops decide to show up, the state boys or something?
So they can get a conviction, yeah.
So, oh, okay,
I don't know, I guess we got a lot of questions, probably would be good if they came with some kind of more detailed.
okay. All right, I will follow up with them.
Proposal.
They both would like one, it looks like. Tom and Dave would both like one for their patrolling. Okay, so you want to follow up with them, want more info.
Because if they want two of them, that's quite a chunk of change. And if they can't get a conviction anyway, then it would be,
Right,
they
which,
need to get that permit before it'll stand up in court, so.
right, which,
Any other
So,
older?
yeah,
unfinished
on that same that same topic, I guess, with the constables, I reached out to the deputy director for Vermont Crime and Information Center about the ORI. And he wanted to confirm that this ORI number is not for the town, it's for our, I feel like he called them constabulators or something, the constability of our town. But so I let him know that we would like a little bit more information, so they've offered to come to the September 19th meeting. So they'll be here on Zoom, and so we can ask all of our questions then, so just be thinking about that, if whatever questions you may have for the constables.
Perfect. That's it for older unfinished?
Yes.
New business municipal planning grant?
All right, so to lead into this, just an update on the municipal technical assistance that we agreed to take from Rutland Regional Planning Commission. I had an initial meeting with Devin just to go over what are the various sorts of projects that can be covered with this technical assistance, because he was here to talk to us, and he got that one meeting, and he got a basic idea of what we wanted. He's going to be joining us next meeting, September 5th, to go over more what assistance he can offer. I'm going to give you a preview, which is that it's probably going to be about the West Pawlet wastewater plant, because that's the thing there's like tons of money for wastewater plants. I did hook him up with John Kiernan, who we've been working with, so they can like talk together. But he will give us more information on September 5th about what he can do for us. However, in talking to him, he mentioned that I also gave him the West Pawlet master plan that Michael Allen had worked on, and he was looking through the recommendations in there. And a number of them are ones that he might also be able to help us out with. He suggested, and I think this is a good idea, that we apply for another municipal planning grant, because we got that one for, evidently you can get them, basically once you're done with one, you can apply for another one, so why not? We did the West Pawlet master plan. The thing that he suggested we might do, and I think this is a great idea, is remember in the West Pawlet plan, there was this idea that we might split up that town-owned land and sell off bits of it in order to make there be some more housing. The town-owned land at the south of the quarry. And there was some question about how feasible this would be and what would need to be done to make that happen. To make some more affordable housing. Devin's suggestion was that we apply for a grant to do a study to see if that would work, basically. Because I know Frank had some concerns about that area, but some other people had thought it might work out, so. And perhaps the scope of this study could be a little broader. I mean, it could look at that particular property, but it could also look at, are there other ways for us to bring some more affordable housing into West Pawlet? So basically, to move forward with what was already in that plan, Devin thinks that if we did that, if we applied for this grant, and this is, this year it's up to 30K. I don't know if we would get that much, and it's only a 10% match. So even if we got the maximum, our match would be 3,000, which is not very big given our budget. this grant would be due November 1st. Devin and I could work on writing it. So yeah, it would be to move forward with a study of this housing idea from the West Pawlet Master Plan and see if it would be possible to use that town-owned land to bring some more lots into our tax rolls.
Sounds like a good
I don't know, I
direction.
would think that before we even moved forward with doing anything with that, the townspeople should know that we were even thinking about doing something like that,
They
right?
do, because it was this plan was publicly presented in West Pawlet, and Michael presented the idea at the time. We
Before.
were in the fire department, and there were about like 25 West Pawlet folks there. And he presented the whole plan, and he specifically brought this up and was like, what are everyone's thoughts on it? And
What were the thoughts? I wasn't there, I'd just like
Oh.
to know.
the thoughts were that, you know, if we can, the things that people thought might be drawbacks were, one, we would have to find a way to make there be 2 entrances or exits to that area. If we made a new street there, because of the fire department would need two ways to get in, right? So that would be something that would have to be worked out. And there were some concerns about the slate being so close to the top. I can't think of the right word, but how
The
close.
slag part,
Yeah.
the slag piles would be an issue, they'd probably have to be removed for
I mean, this
a
was,
liability
But
purpose.
this
or
this
what-
isn't
This is the
really the
meadow.
land that the slag piles are on.
we're
It's-
talking about the meadow
field.
south of
There's,
that.
there's the meadow in the woods out behind the slag pile, and
Yeah.
then there's 30-some acres out behind where the old dump was
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, what I recall people saying, I mean, the thing that people were positive about was if there were more housing and we ran the wastewater to it, everybody would have to pay less for the wastewater hookups, which has been a big problem. And the concern was, could it be houses that would fit in with how West Pawlet is right now? And as long as that could be done, I was surprised that we didn't hear anybody really saying, oh, I hate this idea.
Michael brought it up out of the blue. It
It would
wasn't
be a
discussed by the
public,
committee.
it would be a public process anyways, the whole thing, and they would
Yeah.
only give us proposals that, yes, if you chose to do this with the land, so then anybody that had any positive or
Because
negative impact.
Can you build an affordable house that,
Well, that's what they would tell us.
you know,
Yeah,
That's what they would tell
that
us.
someone that was gonna live in West Pawlet could actually afford
Yeah.
anyway? you
and
know,
Devin
or-
knew, Devin knows some folks who've been doing a similar thing down in Bennington. So he wants to get with them. I forget, it was like Vale was the name, I think. I'm blanking on it, but there's a company that's been doing something similar with developing an area down by Bennington and making smaller homes that are more affordable for folks. I mean, if we did a study and it looked feasible, we could move forward. If they did a study and they're like, actually, this wouldn't work out and it wouldn't be affordable, then we wouldn't go ahead. That was my
Or a
thought.
great deal of negative feedback or
Yeah.
anything like that, but a study is just compiling the
Yeah.
information, it doesn't mean we have to act
Yeah.
on anything.
We won't know if it's feasible unless we do a study.
Precisely.
And for me, the thought that we could possibly have more housing available in West Pawlet and hook up wastewater to more housing, because I was just talking to Julie just the other day. Every year when they have to hire teachers, they have a problem. There's nowhere for them to live. It's so tight. So,
Yeah.
I think it's worth doing the study. And
The
it's not,
study-
it costs us at most $3,000.
Right. The study makes good sense.
I have a
Okay,
comment.
you're gonna start.
Frank?
Go ahead.
The one thing that, Michael brought this up out of the blue without it coming from the committee, okay? As a thought of an idea without walking it. Then after that, we walked it and he realized what the engineering thing was when he
That's why
had
we
finished
do
the
a
study.
study.
When he finished, after he finished the study, I says, let's walk it and you can see what you actually have, because all he was looking at it was from the satellite down. And you didn't see that amount of slate that would have to be removed just to put the septic in would be very costly, and then you add the cost at about $250,000 for Habitat Humanity at the cheapest it can go, right? And that's not affordable housing anymore, that's middle income and up.
But that's why we do a study, Frank.
Right, but here's the other factor.
We're not using
Here's the
opinions,
other
we're doing a
cost
study.
study, is if every one of these houses has one student, and they opt to go to Manchester or these more expensive schools, you're talking about 20 grand a year for 6 years, you're talking about $120,000. That blows entirely out of the water any of the savings you have on a per year basis for a sewer fee. That is a consideration cost-wise. If you have 5 kids, 600 grand, is that the number? Total
It's,
per house?
so Devin's coming in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, Devin's coming in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right?
Yep.
So he'll tell us more about this.
About yeah, he won't necessarily tell us a whole lot more about the municipal planning grant, but he'll definitely tell us more about the municipal technical assistance.
Right. Okay. Anything else under new business? Public comment.
Okay, quickly, because we got a birthday girl here. Did you know it's her birthday? You gotta leave. Is that on the wire, the CEO of Ford went on a little trip with one of his EVs cross country. And he realized why his customers are pissed off. Because 40 minutes to sit around charging and the hassle of an EV to go cross country was tedious in his opinion, okay? And he reported it publicly. And so lithium-ion batteries don't carry a charge. Sodium-ion is what the gang was talking about over there when it's coming, and it's on the precipice of coming, has 5 times more charge, quicker thing, and they have a technology where the battery doesn't degrade at all. So the battery will last the lifetime of the frame of the car. So that's really what the holy grail is in EV, is that. Other than that, it's alternative fuels, propane, hydrogen, that type of stuff.
Okay.
But,
Well, thank you.
But nobody, the fire risk and all this other stuff with lithium-ion has a lot of people wondering if they want to get one, because you get in an automobile accident and you're locked in the car and your battery system starts to burn. You're a toasted marshmallow. That's all there is to it.
Okay. Anything else? I did share an email that I got late this afternoon. I just shared it tonight with regarding 541, the mural.
Okay.
So we can, you guys can review that, and we'll keep in touch on any more changes, but nothing to nothing to
Right,
share
on that. Wow.
in the public. So thank you.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Second. All in favor?
Third.
Aye.
Carried. Thank you very much, all.